Teenage traffic fatalities increase dramatically during prom graduation season. The time of year for proms and graduations has returned, and while it is a time to celebrate, it is also the most hazardous for teen drivers in terms of road fatalities. Teenagers are most at risk for car accidents on prom or graduation nights, whether because the driver has been drinking, is fatigued, or is just preoccupied with their friends' cars. How likely is a teen driver to get into a fatal car accident? Teenage collision fatalities are disproportionately common in the United States, despite the fact that minors drive less than their parents do. According to the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, drivers aged 16 to 19 experience nearly 3 times as many fatal crashes per mile traveled than those who are 20 and older. For drivers aged 16 to 17, the fatal collision rate per mile driven is almost twice as high as for drivers aged 18 to 19. According to the IIHS, minors are more likely than adult drivers to die in a drunk driving accident, despite the fact that younger drivers are less likely to drive after drinking than adults. In order to lower the number of highway fatalities, there needs to be a greater emphasis on underage drinking, especially around prom and graduation. Car crashes are the top cause of mortality for teenagers, and nearly a quarter of them involve a driver who has been drinking while under the legal drinking age, according to Mothers Against Drunk Driving (MADD) statistics. According to the National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, 54% of teen passengers in passenger vehicles died in 2012 when they were riding in vehicles that were also being driven by teenagers. 14% of fatalities involving passengers of all ages happened when a juvenile driver. Distractions like texting and mobile phone use are also a factor in the high accident rate among teenagers, in addition to alcohol. Adults are also involved in accidents caused by distracted driving, but tech-savvy teenagers are more likely to engage in it, and having passengers around is very distracting to them. According to AAA, studies show that when 2 or more teenagers are passengers or drivers, the risk of a fatal crash for 16 to 19-year-olds increases 5-fold. What can you do to keep your child safe on prom night? Discuss these stats freely and honestly with them. Talk about the risks of distracted driving and drinking while driving. Discuss openly the risks of underage drinking generally, which are especially common around prom and graduation season. If public transportation is available, encourage your youngster to use it or chip in for a chauffeured ride for a special event. As often as you can, drive with your child to teach them the rules of the road. Always wear a seatbelt, follow speed limits, refrain from driving while intoxicated or sleepy, and avoid distractions. These are just a few of the regulations of the road that you should make obvious to other drivers. Tell your child that you will be ready at all times to take their calls and offer a ride if necessary, without asking any questions. Additionally, you should confirm the location of any after-prom or graduation parties, as well as the attendance list in the presence of adult supervision. Unattended parties are more likely to feature alcohol or illicit substances. Make sure your child understands the importance of prom and graduation season so they can remember it for the appropriate reasons.